This is the American Arson Podcast, where our goal is to spark creativity. Whether you're a musician, an artist, a writer, or an entrepreneur, we're here to provide you with tools, tips, and insight from professionals and creatives that you can use to inform and inspire your own journey.
All right, guys, so this week we have Andy, formerly from a Plea for Purging, on with us. He's been up to some pretty fun stuff, staying creative during the whole COVID craziness this year, and we think it's going to be a really fun episode for you guys.
Yeah, we talked with Andy about Party On Forever and the videos he's been making, and we also dive into Plea for Purging. So if you're a fan of his band, then you'll definitely like that. And we also hear some crazy tour stories and some crazy Chorin stories about wrestling with an auger. If you don't know what Chorin is, then stay tuned. And Andy will give us a little preview into what he's been up to lately. And he will also define for you what it means to chore and what it means to party and why both of those things are important. So, all right, here's Andy. All right, Andy, well, thanks for being on with us tonight. How you doing?
Dude, doing great. I just spent the last 2 or 3 minutes scarfing down a steak sandwich.
Yes.
I've been working on a bike all day.
Awesome.
And
Well, what was on the steak sandwich?
It was seriously just I didn't cook it, so I don't 100% know what the cut of the steak was. I got a buddy, my friend Zach, is staying the night with us tonight, and he brought steak over.
Awesome.
There you
cooked
go.
it, but some sort of flank steak with some gravy and cheese on a hamburger,
Oof.
like Martin's potato roll bun.
Ooh.
It was delicious.
We're going to have to
Really
cut
great.
this thing short so I can go get some
gotta
food.
go eat.
At this point.
Yeah, dude. I scarfed that thing down really
Ooh.
quick right before we did this.
Awesome. Well, we thought maybe we would kick things off tonight with, just skip the intros and all that and just go into one of life's deepest, darkest, most important questions, which is more important, partying on forever or chorin?
Dude, you cannot have one without the other. If you were just to party all the time, then you would not know. It's like if you're just living goodness and like everything is perfect, then you never know how good it is. You know, that whole you don't know the sweet isn't as sweet without the bitter, that whole thing.
Yeah.
So you can't be partying all the time, but
But it's got to be there.
Yeah, but the mindset is that when you're choring and working, you have to pay your bills. You have to earn a living,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's what this whole thing is about, this whole choring, partying bull crap. It's like you have to earn your keep, whether that's working for money to pay your bills or choring and working on things around the house to make sure that your livelihood is everything's in order. Those things have to happen. But it's the mindset that you have while you're doing it, So if you can remember why you're doing all that stuff, why are you working so hard? And it's to further your existence with your mate or your family or your, whatever your thing is, it's like a long existential crap, but I'm ever since I've been out of the band, which has been 8 years, I've been so focused on work and career-driven mindset that I kind of forgot the whole point of living.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole point of
Having
living
fun.
is to party, dude.
Yeah.
It's to, love your life and be happy when you die. When it's all over, you got to ask yourself why you did it all. And that was to have experiences with people, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
like this right here, we don't know each other. Just the fact that we're sitting here on the computer talking to each other right now is so awesome. You guys are all the way across the country.
Yeah.
And we're just hanging out and talking, and the next, however long this is going to be incredible, just because we're strangers that are getting to know each other. That's the whole point. The reason I don't know if you guys have day jobs or whatever outside of the band.
I do, yeah.
But this sounds like the whole reason you worked today was so that you could come have this conversation, not so that you can talk to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that you can have an experience, and it pays for the electricity that you have at your house right now to be able to do this and have this experience. So
Yeah.
Absolutely.
that's the whole point of the party on forever, dude. Party, keep the party mindset while you're doing all your work, and hopefully everything will be kosher and happy. And
Yeah.
great.
Love that. Love that. So what made you want to, I mean, you mentioned kind of, after you left the band, you got into that career mindset for so long. Did that play into your decision to start making these videos that you've been making recently, kind of like showing how you live life and have fun, but still focus on work and providing for yourself and those around you? How did that kind of all come about recently? Because I can't remember exactly when you started posting stuff on YouTube and all that, but
It was like April, right? March, April.
Yeah.
Right when COVID was rearing its ugly head.
Yeah, like, I've like since the band, like I've definitely had some sort of like internet presence, but not like, when the band kind of died down, I like dove headfirst into just normal adult, like life. I'm pretty old. I'm 38. So like, and the band ended right about when I was 30. So I spent that whole time in my life. Sorry, I give really long answers.
No,
Go
go
for
for
it,
it.
man.
It's
That's why we're
perfect.
here.
Like you got to start at the very beginning before you can get to the actual question you
Absolutely.
asked. Like I didn't plan ahead. I knew there was a glass ceiling with Plea, and there's only so far you can go and being in a metalcore band with a fat lead singer and being goofy and all that. So like hit the ground running at 30 and got really serious about like gotta make money, just because like I have this very serious relationship. I've been in a 10-year relationship with Rachel. We finally just this year got married. We're supposed to have our wedding this year.
Congrats.
Work out. Thank you. So the wedding's pushed off, but like, so all this crazy stuff of like, I'm very aware that financial instability is a lot of the reasons why people's marriages fail and
Mhm.
all this stuff. So like right out of the band, I was just like, okay, I got to learn how to grow up. I got to like, get a 401k and have a savings account and all this shit, And so I was like so focused on that I forgot like what is the whole reason behind all of that stuff is Rachel. Rachel is seriously the reason that I'm alive at this point, is to like further my life with her, and that like until we die, we can just have amazing experiences together, right? And love each
Yeah.
other. And so anyway, with all that being said, like I had this job in staging and production. So like the background of the music scene, but like
Mhm.
work for a company that we designed, built, fabricated, like all these big, amazing set pieces, like stage sets for huge country artists and rock artists and stuff. Like that whole huge like next level that our bands don't know anything
Right.
about.
Exactly.
So I've been doing that for the last however many years. And like, I would have never left that job, even though I wasn't really that happy with it because it was like so secure. I would have never left it. And then COVID hit and it's not secure anymore.
Yeah.
And nothing's
Yeah.
ever hit the entertainment industry like COVID. So it's a way long story, but I took a voluntary layoff and left that company so that another guy could hold on to his position.
Wow.
And because I just knew that like I wasn't happy there. And I've always played with this idea of trying, work for myself. I missed the day when I was in Plea. I didn't work for 6 or 7 years. Like that entire time we were a band.
Yeah.
Somehow we were lucky enough that we didn't have to have day jobs. We just, not that we were crazy successful. We were just really smart with our finances and lived very below our means. So, I lived in like a 400 square foot apartment, and like split that rent with Rachel. And, so it felt amazing to
Kind of
like
missed
be your,
that a little bit.
say what?
Kind of missed that a little bit, being your own
Yeah,
boss.
being your own boss. So like, this whole COVID thing made me start thinking like, what are a few different things that I'm good at, or like, what could I be doing that would pay my bills, but also not make me hate life all day, every day.
Mhm.
And I'm still like in the middle of figuring all that out, but I'm like adopting like a hustle gig life a little more than like a career life at this point.
Yeah.
Nice.
So like with all that being said, I'm like really into, like I'm into people listening to me talk. Like I'm just really vain. Like just the fact that we're here right now and you guys are listening to me speak is just incredible. But like I get off on like making the funny videos and stuff. And
Yeah.
so the whole idea is I can make these funny videos that hopefully make people laugh, but also those videos on a more local level are allowing me to show a few of my talents, and then people are giving me work because of those videos.
Providing a little bit of entertainment and like advertisement for your work at the same time.
Right. Like the bike that's behind me right now, that's a dude that's just a local guy in town that, you know, saw some of my stuff and was like, hey, dude, work on my bike. So like,
That's awesome.
I'm working on his bike, but I'm also shooting a video while I'm working on it. So like it'll be, you know, hopefully funny. Like the goal is that whether you care about motorcycles or not, you watch the video because of my humor or charm or, you know, just watch me be goofy.
Yeah.
But also one of you guys loves motorcycles and you're like, oh crap, I can get Andy to fix my carburetor or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like it's worked. Like I built a deck at our house and I like shot a video about it, and now I got people asking me to build decks and fences and stuff.
I was gonna say, I thought I saw you post something about building a fence the other day, and
yeah, so it's cool, man. You know, like I don't have this huge passion to be a handyman, but I have a passion to spend more time at home.
Yeah.
And also I really miss like the whole thing about like talking and just people paying attention to me. Like that's all funny, but like I really do like starting conversation with strangers.
Mm-hmm.
And so if me making a funny video gets some stranger to send me a comment, that I can carry on that conversation a little bit, whatever it is, whether it's surface level or existential. It just, I like that. I like meeting new people and talking to people. And so long story short, yes, I started sometime around COVID. I was just like, yo, this unstable thing that made me lose my job is going to hopefully get me back to my roots a little bit of just being like a party dude that loves and hanging out and having fun. Because
that's awesome.
I got kind of negative there for a little while. Just life happens, you know. Absolutely. I fight the darkness, you know, but 100%. We all do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. As I was gonna say, you can tell because I always got a kick out of the videos that Plea used to make back in the day. They always, or lots of them had like a fun setting or were kind of goofy, and it's almost like you go for the music, but then you also got a total kick out of just like what you guys were doing, whatever storyline you came up with in the movie and stuff. So it seems like as that kind of, you've always had a knack for that entertaining side of things. Was that part of, you know, you coming up with those things for those music videos and kind of translating it to these? Did you always kind of have that love for comedy and entertainment in that sense?
For sure, man. I mean, like the thing with Plea was our music and our message, and like the art of like the music was like one thing, and it was very serious. And I don't know if you followed what we did or know anything about my lyrics, but you know, pretty serious topically what we were dealing with, but like as like a persona or like the, you know, the vibe that we're trying to put out or whatever, like we're just funny, goofy dudes. Like we're not the dudes that are like, no, not bashing anybody, but we're not like Whitechapel or Impending Doom, like those dudes that like are in a dark warehouse doing death metal, you know, like that stuff's cool, but like I'm not that dude. Like if you talk to me at a show at a merch table, you're gonna know that I'm just a funny fat dude. And so like that's like what we modeled like all of our image, you know, from, was just us being truly us. And like I think it helped and hurt in a few different ways, you know, like it probably let us be set apart a little bit and people pay attention to us, but also like maybe if Plea would have had like one of you dudes that are more attractive up front screaming in a microphone, you know, and looking
that's
cool.
A stretch, I think.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it matters, man. That stuff, like maybe in 2020 it doesn't matter as much, but like in 2006, like it still mattered.
Yeah.
But you guys did a great job of embracing that. I mean, like for example, you guys had the like the butt crack t-shirts. For anybody
Yeah,
that's never
dude.
seen that, we'll have to find a picture of that and throw that up there. Or you put out the Fat Pride release and stuff, like just kind of embracing who you are and not trying to be somebody else. And I think
Which I think in and of itself develops even more a more rabid and dedicated fan base than anything. I mean, like staying true to who you are instead of, you see today, whether it's, guys in bands that end up being outed as just total douchebags, or people that you just find out are just fake. Maybe it's nothing like bad necessarily, but they put on one persona on stage or through their lyrics, and then people meet them in person and they're like, man, that is not who I thought they'd be.
I think people are truly drawn to authenticity, and when you just go up there and do your thing, and you can be a funny dude who also has these very serious thoughts and writes these very serious lyrics. And I think a lot of people, I think, are looking for somebody like you to sort of give them maybe permission, to be like that, and to like heavy music, but not to have to always be, walking around with a dark cloud over their head all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, it kind of goes back to the whole, like I said, I'm kind of old, but like when Nirvana hit the scene, like everything before Nirvana was glitz and glam and like, crazy hair metal and dudes wearing like spandex and shit. And like, Nirvana came out. Like I grew up super poor. Like I grew up in a trailer park. So like when Nirvana hit the scene and like Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam and all these like the grunge era, whatever, like those dudes all looked like dudes that lived in the trailer next door to me. You know what I mean? So when I was like 12 years old and like Nirvana came out, I was like, whoa, dude, like there's like rock stars that are just like us, you know? So that's how I've always been. It's just I've always been a stickler for like authenticity and just honesty and really being my true self. I mean, like there's also that thing where you got to be all things to all people or whatever. Like that was a hard thing, like in being like a Christian band out on the road and playing a lot of Christian market stuff. Is like some days you have a really bad day and you're a really negative dude, but you're having to also put the face on for the 14-year-old kid that is in love with your band. And so you're trying, that's the one line where like I'm so honest. Like, dude, I hate lies. I hate like even skirting the truth. Like that's just not me. But that was the one thing I always had a little hard time dealing with, is like the days that I'm having a really bad day. I want to be I want to be honest about it and just be like, yo, kid, leave me alone. I'm having a bad day. But you can't do that. You just have to turn that switch on. So I'm pretty good at turning a switch on, like just being a total bummer and like flip it and be like, yo, let's do this. But inside you're like dying inside,
no, I totally feel that's like I mean, even aside from the band, I struggle with an anxiety disorder and depression. And so like you said, there's those days where like whether it's that or maybe you don't struggle with those things like clinically, but you're just having a bad day or crap happens, like and you're down, like, but you have to turn that switch on. Like you also mentioned like being in a Christian or a faith-based band, like how did you juggle that being authentic and being real, to just the stuff you're dealing with and battling, but also, I mean, you guys did some touring in and out of the Christian market and mainstream stuff too, but like was that ever tough, like feeling like you had to maintain that level of authenticity to who you were, but maybe some of those things were looked at in a different light by the I guess traditional Christian market? Because I think that's a thing a lot of bands, especially bands like on labels like Facedown and Solid State and stuff like that have kind of a foot in both doors may deal with, or I don't want to say struggle with, but it's finding that balance and whether it's what they're writing about, maybe some of the darker, more serious stuff, and also still professing their faith or relating to that, I guess.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like, God, that's a huge thing to unpack. But like, best way I can explain it is like, your, I, I don't know your journey, but my journey is like 13 years old. I make a profession that I believe in Christ, and like from then on, like everything in the world is that, whether I know what I'm talking about or not, whether I'm schooled in the Bible, like it's just like the rest of my life is good. I'm sold out for Christ, and I'm going to like mission to the world. Right. So like, I'm super right at the same time of that. It's right around the same time I got into like playing music and trying to like, so it goes hand in hand. The thing that's most important to you in the world is your faith. And the second most important thing is rocking with your bros. So like those are like the two things that you're chasing, and it just is this natural progression. And then for me, like band after band after band after band, and then finally one lands and like start touring the world on a Christian label in a Christian band. And that band started out as one thing, and like over the years, like I started out as one thing and the band started out as one thing, and both of those things are growing and changing organically. Each dude in the band has their own journey, and we're all figuring it out on our own, but together. And so like, if you like follow along lyrically, I think like our fans that like really got what we're doing and really followed us saw my path through all the records. Like I was just very honest about all the different things I was dealing with. And like every time I talk about this, I have to like give insane appreciation to Jason and Facedown for letting me be me and say the things I said on the records. Cause like there's stuff on some of those records that like I bet was hard for Jason to just sign off on.
Yeah.
And like we've had some conversations about that, and like he trusted me enough and knew my heart enough to like let me say the things I was saying. But like you travel on tour and allow yourself to be engulfed in the quote unquote Christian music industry. It's gonna affect you in some form. For us, it was like kind of for me, I'll say I can only answer for myself. It was like a negative thing. And it made me question a lot about myself, question a lot about the Lord. Still to this day, I'm not really sure where I land on a lot of those questions. But yeah, dude, like it's a crazy thing to say, to basically stand up at 13 years old and say, I'm going to give my entire life to this thing and profess it every day in front of people. And you're known for that. And the older you get, the more your mind is thinking about other things and
forming your own
things.
opinions. And
right.
Lots of people like at that age, we all like, my dad's a pastor. I grew up in the church. I know Evan's grown up in the church as well. Like when you're that young and you're already in it, it sometimes people talk all the time about it not really being your own faith. And I think it's, whether it's a progression of that faith, some people that step away from it and then, have to come back to it, or whatever that person's journey is. It's and lots of those bands that start in one place, like you said, and then develop, it's hard for, I think, some of I shouldn't say the group everyone together, but some of the fan base of those Christian labels or that Christian market to understand, like, hey, this person is a decade older than they were when they were a late teenager, early 20s, and they're a completely different person. But I mean, it's cool. You mentioned that Jason, how cool it was of them to sign off on that too. I know that was one thing when, even as we were writing this first full length for Facedown, like me even kind of thinking like, I wonder like if they're gonna, we didn't say anything too controversial or crazy. Our album gets pretty political and touches on some sensitive subjects, and but thinking like, I wonder, if they're going to be cool with this. And I remember having that conversation with Jason and him just being like, no, dude, like I love putting out music that makes people think. And creates conversation, and that's what this does. Even I can't remember his exact words, but saying something along the lines like, we all have different opinions on certain things, but if it creates that conversation and makes people think, that's what we're here for. So that's definitely something I think that sets Facedown apart from some other Christian labels in the industry for sure. But it's really cool that you guys had that experience as well, because it's hard to find. I know one of my struggles in music and creatively too, growing up being a part of the Christian scene as a fan and as a musician now, I kind of was hardened towards the whole Christian industry for that reason of feeling like so much of it was fake, or kind of manufactured, or that they weren't allowed to really talk about the real issues that they were dealing with or real issues in life. And seeing people that are able to do that, whether it's bands or labels, is really cool. But
for sure, man, that's cool. I think it's awesome what Jason and Virginia and those guys are doing and allowing people to be a part of and do on their label. And I just got nothing but like the most insane respect for them, the whole crew there. They were so good to us, and just the fact that they like went on out on a limb. I mean, our first like couple EPs and record was awful, and for some reason they saw something in us that like meant something or took a chance, and it's cool.
It is really cool. Did you guys feel like there was any backlash your way when you kind of started to pivot, or did you feel like your base was still in your corner and they were just, like Jesse said, waiting to see a different angle of that conversation? Or how was that for you guys?
I feel like most of our fans like just really grew with us and supported us. Like there's surface level fans and then fans that really get what you're doing, and like it's all, you can understand it in the way that they talk to you. Like there are some people that just obviously don't read or understand your lyrics or know what you're saying at all, and they're just obviously, I'm trying to think
just
of
in
like,
it for the breakdown.
yeah, so they have no clue, and they're just like, dude, what you guys are doing is great, blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
like, but then there are people that have like real honest conversations with you, and like know where you're coming from. And I feel like for the most part, like we had a really supportive group of people, that allowed me to say what I needed to say. And I mean, we got a few people here and there that were like, dude, I'm praying for you, like, which is totally sick. Pray for me, but like on a more condemnation feeling,
Yeah.
than like supportive. But for the most part, I feel like because we never like Plea or myself never came out and said like, yo, we're not a Christian band anymore. Fuck Christian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's bands that do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking crap about them. That's just like not there. Even if we ever decided like, yo, we are like not that and we're going this other direction, we would have never done it like that, because like
tried to shame another group of people.
Yeah, because to me, like, we got signed to a Christian label, like got a lot of like recognition by playing Cornerstone and Sunshine Festival and playing churches. And like, of course we tried to like stray away from that and start playing general market stuff because it's a better like business decision, and it's like, more enjoyable and longevity, blah, 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 blah. But like, you can't ever not realize that your band and your success was built on the backs of like church youth group kids. You know what I mean? So like, you can't like look at them and shame them and be like, yo, F that, I'm not a part of that anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I got tons of friends that have actually done that route and like, totally turned their back and like made a very aggressive, like, we're not a part of that anymore. And that's cool. And I'm not talking crap about any band that's done that. But like for me to think about hurting the feelings of some like 15-year-old kid that got into my band when they were 12 or 13 because their parents allowed them to go to the Christian bookstore and buy Depravity, even though Depravity was a dark ass record. Like it was Lifeway, so their parents thought it was okay for them to listen to. And like, and for me to like be like, yo, we don't want you as a fan base anymore. That's heavy.
Yeah.
So like for our whole thing was I'm going to be completely honest about what I'm dealing with. And I mean, like you listen to the last couple of records, like listen to the very last record, like I am saying out loud, I'm not really sure if I believe in God. I don't know what's going on with my life. I'm hurting. Like, I don't know spiritually what I believe in. Is the earth a big dark hole? Like those are all the things that are being talked about on that record. And like, if people like really paid attention, then they were able to see like what I was dealing with. And hopefully, like, if they have any of those same questions, whether they're Christian leaning or not, like they can just know that, dude, there are people out there that are like terrified and dealing with the same questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, it comes back to what we said about authenticity, right? Because if you're feeling that way and you've always been the kind of person who's wrote music about, how you feel, authentic music, you really have a few choices. Number one is to fake it, and write the same stuff that you were writing before because that's what's expected of you. Number two is to completely skirt the issue and just write about other stuff. And I think then it probably comes out a little bit shallow because you're kind of you have this deep stuff going on over here and you're like, maybe I'll go over here and address like something everybody hates, so that's easy.
Yeah.
And then number three is kind of do what you did and dive headfirst into it. And I do think that in the long run, what is art really about anyways? It's about authenticity because art is a mirror of life. And I do think that in the long run, those of us who write music that is authentic or create any type of art, this show is about all different types of creativity, but when you put authenticity behind it, I think there's something lasting there. And again, we've said it on this podcast before. You kind of alluded to it. We're not hating on any of those bands who go after like a market or a target demographic, or they have a marketing plan to attack a certain portion of the industry. Maybe they're whether it's pop music or pop art or pop whatever. Totally understand that. But I think that authenticity is something that people appreciate and that people are always going to gravitate toward. And I think, people saw that in Plea, and I think they see that in you now, motorcycles and funny, videos and stuff. And, people want to be a part of that.
Dude, I hope people are still like, I'm just like a 38-year-old fat dude at this point, but like, I hope people are like, I don't have any delusions that I'm going to like gain 1 billion followers or anything, but I hope that the 5,000 people that do follow me are getting a chuckle out of the crap I have to say. And, or at the very least, at the very least, if I like post some kind of like motivational bull crap on Monday morning, like those things, like if you notice the uptick in my motivational speaking recently, it's because like, those are all things that I need to hear. I need to hear. Somebody needs to be telling me this stuff, and I'm not finding it. So I'm telling myself it, and then I'm putting it out on the internet. So hopefully, like, the few thousand people that follow me on the internet are like, yo, dude, I really needed to hear that funny motivational thing this morning, like, I don't know.
Well, especially now, because it is really hard to sometimes see the light at the end of the tunnel. Jesse and I started this really because we watched, this is our debut album was releasing on Facedown this summer, and we watched every festival, every tour date, everything that we had planned go up in smoke. And we were trying to think of a way that we could continue to connect with people, but also maybe inspire other people, because I know for me, when my inspiration is low, my creativity is low. And so when I was sitting in the house for those first couple of months doing nothing, I didn't want to create. I didn't want to do anything. And then I got an opportunity to go on this little backpacking trip with my dad and my brothers. We thought it was going to get canceled because apparently it was too unsafe to even do backcountry camping. They're like canceling our backcountry camping, the original social distancing. They're canceling that site. But we ended up finding a cabin. A friend of my brother gave us a cabin that we could stay in, and we went on this backpacking trip up to the Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. And I came back and it was like, I'm inspired, and now I'm watching my creativity go up. It's just those two things go hand in hand. And at a time like this, when people are lacking inspiration, they're also going to lack creativity and authenticity and all these other things. So I definitely appreciate it, and I think other people have appreciated as well.
Sick, dude. Thanks. I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like the thing where you said, like, if you don't have the influence, you don't have the creativity.
Yeah, if you don't have the inspiration, it's hard to be creative.
Creative. Yeah, dude. Like, that's the whole thing. That's where all this comes from. Is like when I was talking about how like focused I was on career and like grown up shit. Like, you give everything like you give every ounce of yourself to this job. Like, I was like super career minded, wake up super early so that I can be like really aware and prepared when I get to work. And then like I was in a management position, always on call, always taking phone calls and emails in the middle of the night. So like your whole being is devoted to this thing. And then like I still want to be creative. Like I'm not like super musically talented, but like I play guitar a little bit. And like I can play all the instruments, just not very good. Like that's why I yelled in a microphone. But like,
so what you're saying is there's another record coming.
Yeah, dude, all me. It's just me and garage band drum loops. But like, like, but giving so much of myself to that like career and work and stuff, and like I didn't pick up a guitar for years, like maybe like 5 minutes at a time here and there, and be like, oh man, this feels awful. Like, and it's been cool this year because of like it putting a pause on my life, kind of like it's allowed me to just like, not that I'm sitting around like playing guitar all day every day, but like I'm more creative at this point. Like I started painting this year, which is super cool. I got really into like painting. That's awesome. And that's been fun. I've been playing music a little more, and like just sitting here at this computer and like editing those videos to me is like some of the funnest crap in the world, dude. Like these things don't ever get out. Like I'm getting like I recently made the switch from like Instagram to YouTube as far as putting out the videos, and they get way less views than I got on Instagram because like you got this built-in audience. But like, and that's like discouraging and a whole nother thing, and who cares really about that? But like the thing I'm getting to is it really doesn't matter if 30 people or 30,000 people watch the videos, because like I sit here and laughed like at myself for hours editing like a 7-minute long video. And like that's cool, dude. It's cool that you can like, spend a night doing that crap. And like I would have never or I would be way less devoted to this if I was still working the same job I was working. And I don't know what the end game is with all that. Eventually I might end up having to go get another job. Right now I'm just like hustling and hoping that this hustle
just choring
works. Yeah, just choring, dude, for sure. But it's fun, dude.
Yeah. What got you into bikes? And I know that part of that choring has been fixing bikes, but it's also a passion for you. I can see from your videos and stuff.
Yeah, dude. Like I always thought motorcycles were cool, but I didn't grow up with that. Like I didn't grow up with a dad or like male influence. I didn't know how to use tools until I was like in my 20s. Like, so the very last few years of Plea, Blake, who played guitar in our band, he always had a motorcycle, like some like Yamaha or something. And I didn't know anything about bikes other than I just thought they were cool. And we started making enough money where like, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna buy a crappy motorcycle and like learn how to ride a bike. And like, I got a buddy that went and, like test drove it for me. I found some like $1,000 motorcycle on Craigslist or something. And, dude rode it for me, said, yeah, this is cool. Brought it home. And then like, I just got on it and taught myself how to ride. And so me and Blake both rode these like crappy, like Yamahas around for a minute. And then we went and did a Australia tour. And when we came back, we made a bunch of money, dude, which is crazy. It's crazy to think like usually when you go overseas, you like, at least on our size band, we were never big. So like if you're our level and you go overseas, you come back, you're in debt.
Yeah.
But
you're like praying to break even.
Yeah. When we went to Europe, we lost a lot of money, dude. But we came back, we paid it all off. But when we went to Australia and New Zealand and came back, we came back sitting on some cash, dude.
Sounds
so-
like we need a tour Australia and New
Yeah,
Zealand.
dude. I don't know what it is, but just tell them I sent you, and then you'll be good. But I bought a Harley, dude. I bought a Harley
Oh, rad.
Sportster, like,
Nice.
not like a brand new. It's still like only a few $1,000s, like
Yeah.
a used, like little, old one. But I bought a Harley, and
Step
Blake bought
up
a
for
Harley.
sure.
Yeah, and it just bit me, dude. And like that, so I've been riding 8 or 9 years at this point, maybe 10. No,
Oh, nice.
probably like 10 years. 10 years, I think.
Okay.
And it's just been really great. I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to say my identity's wrapped up in that, but for sure, like, it has been a little bit like, like you are the dudes from American Arson, like that's
Yep.
your identity. I mean, I don't know anything about your personal lives outside of that. So like to anybody out in the world right now, that's your identity.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah, 100%.
And that like, I allowed myself to be that. Like, I was Andy from a Plea for Purging. I mean, my name on the internet is still a Plea for Andy, but like, like that was me. I was the dude in the band. And like, when that ended, I've thought about starting a podcast just about this subject. But like, when it's all over, like, where are you at? Like,
Yeah.
like, where's your identity? What do you got yourself wrapped up in? And maybe that's like, there's some people that probably came out a lot, like maybe unscathed because they were so like devoted in their identity being in the Lord and they got it all figured out or something. I don't know. But like, for sure, like, I like haven't talked about this a ton, but like when I came out, my identity was like lost. And who am I? And like, I worked a few like pretty bad, like depressing jobs, trying to figure out like how I'm gonna like make the next move and pay for my life and blah 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 blah. But like, after all that, and like after Plea, I had to like wrap my identity in something, so I was like the motorcycle dude at that point. Like, I got really into like choppers and like made this bike that like, it's all about being creative, right? Like, I don't have this
Yeah.
creative outlet to like scream in a microphone anymore. So I made a bike that reflects what I think is cool, my style. And then like after that, I just started learning and getting tools. And I still don't know what I'm doing, but like, I know more than like most of my friends, so like,
Hell of a lot
I'm
more
the-
than I'm sure you did 10 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I didn't know anything about mechanics at all like 10 years ago. And now like, I'm the dude that all of our friend group come to me and like, I work on their bikes. And so that's cool. Like at this
Yeah.
point, I'm not trying for that to be my identity.
Mhm.
And my identity is just being a good person. I think just that's Andy. That's a positive dude. He's funny. That's what I want people to like know me as, being just an honest, like genuine dude. But I think I needed that motorcycle identity thing for a minute
Kind
to
of
help
tied you
me,
over.
like, to help me get out of
Yeah.
Plea and figure out what I am and who I am. Now I
Absolutely.
just don't care what anybody thinks. Like, you say that growing up, but now I'm like really there. Yeah.
Yeah. Are there any cool like rides that you really want to do, like somewhere in the US that I know that's a thing for people who ride, that they have like kind of their bucket list rides that they want to do?
Yeah, I mean, like, my dream for sure is to go coast to coast to coast. Like, basically, like, I want to start like on the East Coast and go all the way to California, go up to PCH, and then come back to Tennessee.
Oh man, that'd be sweet.
And like, I almost made that happen this year, like right when COVID hit and I didn't have a job, and like I got on unemployment, and like I was like, oh, life's great. I'm getting paid right now to do nothing, and I wasn't paid attention to like what I needed to do. And so like, me and a couple dudes like really played with the idea of riding up to Oregon and back, because like I have family that lives on Mount Hood,
Oh, cool.
and a couple of these other dudes had family that live in Northern California. And we were like, yo, we'll just ride over there. We'll split up. We'll see our family, and then we'll ride back. But it just, in reality, it probably would have took like 3 weeks to a month of our life. And like, I was in the middle of like Rachel and I had 2 different wedding dates this year that both canceled because of all of this stuff. We had it once and then postponed it and then had to cancel it. So it just didn't make sense and it didn't happen. But that's my dream for sure, is to ride coast to coast.
Incredible.
But like I've done like almost the entire country. Like I rented a bike in Vegas and rode it all the way to Nashville.
Oh, cool.
Which was a pretty big trek. And Rachel and I've ridden like to the Black Hills and back when we were living in Minnesota. So we've done some pretty massive rides, but like, dude, I just in a perfect world, I wouldn't have to work ever and I could just ride motorcycles. Like if Rachel wants stability and like she like we bought a house this year or last year and like,
nice. Congrats.
You know, like we're grown-ups. Thank you. Like we're grown-ups. We bought a house. Like we're like, you know, white middle class America, like that thing, you know, it's so boring. Like everything that you like, you're punks. You guys are punkers. And it's like everything that you're like against. Certainly that's how I was when I was a kid. I was like, that's not the life I want. I want to be partying in a van for the rest of my life.
Right.
So there's still that. There's still like, if Rachel would say, okay, we're going to go ride our motorcycles forever and sleep in tents, I'd sell off everything I could sell off and do that and like be homeless and like fight for the experience every day. But Rachel likes security. So I would way rather wake up in bed with her every morning and go to sleep with her every night in our safe, secure home than be off riding motorcycles by myself.
Right.
You know?
Well, the good news is
you could have a safe, secure tent.
Right.
Right.
The good news is you're not like on the clock, right? It's not like a band where or playing a sport or something where you know you're about to chew through your prime. Motorcycle's going to be there for a while, so you don't have to worry about it. I mean, as long as you can keep yourself on it, I guess. If you get too old to stay on it, then you might be in trouble at that point. But
yeah, I might be there already, dude. I don't know. No, what's funny is like like, you know, there's all kinds of different motorcycles and cultures and stuff, but like the thing I'm like super into is choppers. Like, and they're just the most impractical. Like I had a motorcycle that had suspension on it and I cut the frame in half and welded up a hardtail on the end. So there's no suspension on it. So like it just beats the crap out of you. It's super
every time
like,
you hit a bump or a pothole.
impractical. Yeah, it hurts. And it's like, there's people that, you know, like when I did that trip from Vegas to here, I was on like a brand new 2018, like really cushy, great motorcycle. I almost did 1,000 miles in one day and it didn't feel like anything. If I do like 600 miles on my bike in one day, it like you feel like death. Like it's crazy. But for some reason there's like a bragging right to, it's like when you're like road dogging in a van and you feel like a little more like badass than the band that pulled up in their like tour bus or their bandwagon or something.
Oh yeah, that's definitely. Or like that band, that band gets hotels. Like what? Like
you're like, dude, we sleep in our trailer.
Right? No, I know the very first
Walmart
West Coast swing that I ever went on. We had a shower chart, and the winner was like who took the least amount of showers. There's like some sort of just you know, I don't know, the celebration of the suffering that you think it gives you credibility when you first get out there, for sure.
Dude, we used to tour with For Today all the time, and there was like a couple of tours back to back where Brandon, their bass player, didn't shower for like 60. It's something crazy, like 60 plus days. It's insane.
Oh man, we're gonna have him on and ask him about that.
Yeah, dude, it was like a phenomenal amount of days.
Right.
Dude.
At that point, you just have a protective layer. Like you just have a shell on you.
You just glaze over,
right?
Like
glaze. That's a good glaze. Is a disgusting but good word to describe it.
Yeah.
Well, since we're on the topic, do you have any
I was gonna say
crazy tour stories that you want to share with us?
Dude, I don't know.
I'm sure you have a billion of them, but
I feel like I always tell the same ones all the time, so I'll tell one. that I don't know if I've ever told on a
Or
podcast.
any
That
crazy
works.
fun Chorin stories too.
Yeah, we could do one of
Dude.
each.
I got one of each.
All right.
I'll tell you, this is maybe the most. This shows you how full of myself I got at one time, and I'm insanely embarrassed by this right here. So I got into like heavy music and stuff around like, like 12, 13. I started listening to like aggressive music, like from grunge, and then got into like punk and hardcore and stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't like go through the phase really of listening like to like mallcore, like new metal stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of skipped that a little bit. I mean, I was aware of it and all that. I went to high school in a small town. So like all my small town hick buddies really liked, mallcore and rapcore and that stuff, but I was not super aware of it. Anyway, with that being said, we're nobody. A Plea for Purging in the grand scheme of the world and bands are such a nobody, minuscule band. But when we used to play Cornerstone Festival in Bushnell, Illinois, that one place we were somebody.
Yeah.
Like our shows were incredible. I was like a rock star from the moment we like walked on festival grounds to the time we left at the end of the week. But like at Cornerstone, people like just, I don't know. It was just the perfect world. I guess it's just, you got 10 fans in every city. There's only like 10 people that come see your band play, but then all those 10 kids all over America show up at Cornerstone.
Yep.
And then you got like 7,000 people that watch your band play.
Yeah.
And it's like really incredible. So anyway, we're there. I kind of get in this bad mood like every year there because like I'm like really focused on like you'd think it's the most incredible thing ever. You're somewhere where everybody thinks you're the shit.
Yeah.
But also I'm the dude that sets at the merch table and I'm the dude that makes sure everything's perfect. And like, I'm the business mind guy, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I'm at the merch tent setting up like day before Cornerstone, trying to get our like elaborate, crazy merch set up. We used to travel with like 26, 27 t-shirt designs.
Wow.
Like we thought we were like,
We thought we had too many. That's good. That makes
Yeah,
you feel
dude.
better.
we got obscene there for a while with the amount of merch we were carrying. But I'm at the table setting up, and this dude, I don't even really know how we know him, but he's this dude that's like a band manager that at one point tried to manage our bands.
Mhm.
And like we knew him from like Northern California. He's there and he walks up to me and he goes, "Hey man, how you doing? What up?" And I'm like, trying to get rid of him and stuff. And he's like, "Hey man, I have the guys over in the van over here and they'd like to meet you." And I don't know who the guys are. And he's like, "I got the guys over here." And so I'm thinking it's got to be some band that he's managing and they're just some nobody band and they want to talk to me. Like I thought I was like above it for some reason.
Yeah.
This all sounds so asinine that I want to like not even tell it anymore. But so I'm like, "Okay, dude, whatever. I'll come meet your dudes." And I walk over to this van, this minivan with two dudes sitting in it. And they're like super like gothed out, like mallcore dudes. Like, and I don't know who they are. And they're both like, the two dudes are like, "Yo, man, I just want to tell you, like, we heard your band, like your stuff is awesome. We think it's really cool. Blah, 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 blah. We'd love to get the new record. I know you got a new record coming out this week." And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, the record's right over there on the table. Go buy you one. I got to go." And I walk away. And then 2 or 3 minutes later, John, our bass player from Plea, walked up to me and said, "Dude, that is so sick that you just met Brian Head Welch and Sonny from POD." And I'm like, "What?" He goes, "That was Sonny and Head." And I go, "What?" And I had no clue that I was talking to two of the most famous rockers in our scene ever, like,
Oh my gosh.
and I blew them off. I wasn't even cordial. I was just like, "Well, that's cool, man. It's cool that you like my band, but I got stuff to do."
I gotta go buy the record.
Like, how asinine is that?
Oh,
And so like I don't think that anything in the world would have changed. Like if I like sucked up to him, but what if POD would have been like, yo, man, we want to take you guys on tour.
Right.
Or what if I would have like, and after that, I ended up like, we ran into like both of their bands a few
I
times.
was gonna say, did you
that.
ever see them after?
Yeah. So like, and it was always cool and cordial, but like, think about like anything could have happened where like when Head got back with Korn, what if he like our relationship was so great that he wanted to take Plea out on tour with Korn?
Yeah, if you guys had just had a campfire that night and done some s'mores or whatever.
Dude,
well,
right.
if he's listening to this, maybe he'll convince you guys to get back together for a stadium tour or something.
Yeah, if we're probably like 7,000th on his podcast to listen to, but if for some reason you're listening to,
dude, that's so embarrassing, and like that just goes to show you like. I feel like I was like always really nice and like I'm the dude that tried to sit at a merch table until the end of the night and talk to every kid. But like, you know, for some reason I thought I was
the one time
Stone and like just too good to talk to these mallcore dudes, and they were like world famous rockers.
Well, in your defense, they should have rolled up in something other than a minivan, because that was kind of a little bit, you know, maybe threw you off the stench a little bit.
Yeah, it was like a little Nissan Quest.
Right. Yeah. Maybe it was you know what? It's probably a rental because they probably flew in. They probably weren't.
Their guy should have said something. He should have given you a heads up, like, "Yo, Brian Ed Welch wants to talk to you in this minivan over here."
Right. What turns out, like, which maybe I should have just been more, like, privy to what was going on in the world, but like apparently, like that dude that I didn't really, the manager dude that I didn't really care for. He was a part of that whosoever thing. And that was right when the whosoever, like that big, like, y'all know what that is?
Yeah, everybody had their middle name as that on social media and stuff.
Yeah. And so like that was right around the time that like Sonny and Head and all these dudes were starting this whosoever thing. So I guess I should have known that, but I just don't know because I'm not like as much a part of that world.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So that's I will never forgive myself for that one, you know?
Well, that's, we appreciate you sharing it because I know the self-deprecating ones are not always the fun ones. You always want to tell the stories or something ridiculous happened to somebody else.
You can laugh about it now, but you know, that, oh man, the chances. I guess it's a reminder for all of us to try and stay cordial when we can.
Yeah, dude, you never know who you're talking to, man. You know, you might have a listener right now. You might have like, you know, Shia LaBeouf might be listening to you guys right now. So never talk crap about him, you know?
I never would anyways.
I hear he's in the running for a new part in the MCU. So maybe, Shia, if you're listening, maybe throw one of our tracks on there. And
I heard he is an actual cannibal. So I wouldn't push my luck. So I'm not gonna mess with him.
I think he's like one of the most interesting dudes. So like we get in these weird YouTube loops where we like just start watching Shia LaBeouf videos for like a while.
I heard some crazy things that he supposedly did for this last movie. He filmed that like gangster film he did where he like actually got his whole back tattooed for real just for the part and had like a tooth pulled or something like that.
Dude,
like,
he had a tooth filed down.
Oh man.
That's crazy. He's crazy.
People are committed to, man. Some people are committed, at least. I know Christian Bale, like when he did The Machinist, he went down to like 95 pounds, and then he's in Batman and he's jacked, and then he's in, what was the movie where he's Dick Cheney, and it's just crazy like that people are willing to do that kind of gymnastics to their body to committed to their craft.
I'm not that committed to anything, dude, at all.
Neither am I.
That's right. Well, we're almost out of time, but do you have you said you maybe have a funny Chorin story for us too?
Dude, sure, man. I mean, it's not near as crazy as the POD story, but the other day, like me and some dudes, like, I don't know if you know what an auger is, but it's like a big drill bit that
I saw you post that you just got wrecked by it or something.
Dude, yeah, there's like we built this fence, super long fence, like 260 feet, and had to dig like about 30 holes in the ground that are like 2.5, 3 feet down.
Yeah.
We use this 2-man auger thing. It's like a huge drill bit with like these handles, and you push down on the ground, and like
one guy on each set of handles, or
one guy on each side,
Okay.
holding these handles. And we ended up eventually having 3 dudes on it. Like me, I'm huge, right? And my other buddy that's like not near as fat as me, but like a big, thick dude. And then like a really fit guy. All 3 of us are pushing down on this auger, like barely digging the holes. Like I like to think that I'm pretty tough.
Yeah.
And I'm a hard ass. I won't complain about anything. Like I will work all day and I'm not going to complain even if I'm hurting.
But an
Dude,
auger.
I was jammed up for 2 or 3 days, dude. Like that thing like spun loose and hit me in the knee one time and like about jacked my knee up. Dude, it's crazy. So if you're ever messing with the auger, get ready to hurt, dude.
Oh man. Oh, I guess you know where to go to get your like once a week workout in. If you need like just you want to just get wrecked for a day or two, just go use a giant.
I had to tell my brother about that. My brother does CrossFit. He'd throw that. They do all sorts of weird stuff. He'll throw that in his CrossFit gym. Just have a
just aug it out.
Do 17 pull-ups and go outside and dig a hole with an auger, run a lap and come back in.
Hell yeah, dude. It'll mess you up.
Oh man. Well, Andy, thank you so much for hanging out with us for an hour. It was fun to, finally get to talk. I know, we've known of each other for a minute, but like you said, it's cool to be able to have these opportunities, especially right now while the world's a bit slowed down from normal, to get on and chat and get to know people. And hopefully once everything opens back up, we'll be able to roll through your area, maybe help you do some choring and
for sure,
and
dude.
hang out.
Come on over,
I'll
man.
have to get on the auger.
Yeah, can we that's the video I want to make for both of us, is next time we're on tour through the area, we gotta get an auger and see what
American
Let's
augers.
do it. When you guys come through, when you guys tour through here, have an off day, like after your Nashville show or before. We'll do a video of Chorin, and at the end of the day, we'll make some burgers and we'll hang out. We'll eat. It'll be sick.
That sounds
great.
great.
I was gonna say I brought up the use of an auger, but you mentioned an off day. It sounds like if we were gonna use an auger, we might need like 3 off days after that before.
Yeah, dude.
Can't imagine lifting my arms to hit anything before.
You might have to live at my house for a few days, like after that one, dude.
A few shows.
So
we've already canceled a year's worth of shows this year because of COVID, so we're used to it now.
That sucks, man. I feel bad for all you guys, dude. That it's heavy. Like I got buddies here in town that are all dying because of it. Like dudes that aren't used to working jobs and having to go out and get jobs, and they're all sad. And I can't imagine it. So I feel for you dudes for sure, especially like your debut record's coming out and you can't even tour on it. So I hope that this podcast and everything is like working to generate,
either way, it's having fun. We're having fun. It's keeping us inspired. We get to have good conversations.
Yeah.
So if people want to support what you're doing now, what's the best way to do that?
Dude, I mean, just on all the social medias, I'm still a Plea for Andy, and then on YouTube I have a channel called Party On Forever.
Awesome.
And I'm just hoping people like get a kick out of it and laugh, and I'm not really trying to accomplish anything other than that, make people smile, and hopefully as long as it keeps giving me more jobs to film, I'll keep filming jobs and keep doing them and do this weird hustle life for a little while. So
cool. Are the t-shirts still available?
Dude, those are sold out, but I'm gonna do another one pretty soon.
Sweet.
I'm just trying to do like every couple months, like I'll do like a t-shirt pre-sale and anything that like just keeps the lights on, you know what I mean? So
okay.
Just
100%.
if you're listening, follow along. There'll be cool stuff coming out.
Absolutely. Right. Go subscribe to them. Give them a follow. I promise. Even if, like you said, even if you're not necessarily into, bikes or anything mechanical or specific, you will laugh a lot.
I got some cooking videos coming out.
Oh, sweet.
Posting all kinds of weird stuff, dude. So,
amazing.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you again, Andy. We appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be able to connect with you again soon.
Yeah, for sure, dudes. This has been great. Thanks for having me on.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, have a good one, man.
Yeah, you too.
Let's see ya.
Thank you for listening to the American Arson Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a moment to leave a positive comment or review. Connect with us online through Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or Twitter, And check out AmericanArson.com for music, merch, and upcoming tour dates. We'll be back next week with another episode. Until then, stay inspired, stay positive, and keep creating.